Do you know who this is?
No offense, but can we just get the 8 ball?
This is Dee Dee, and she has one of the best story arcs in The Wire, but you'd be forgiven for saying,
Who the fuck is
Dee Dee. We don't get a name, we don't know where she comes from or what led her on this path, but we can implicitly understand her with only 3 scenes. In 3 scenes across 3 seasons, in less than 10 minutes, we see a complete story arc for this character. So, how's that possible?
Dark science. Cloning. Secrets only the Sith knew.
It's by something that probably has a name, but what I call discrete storytelling. It's something so background that you couldn't even call it an E-plot. But before we get to the gold standard of it, let me explain it. So, I'm Dennis from That's for the Birds, and this is a look at discrete storytelling in The Wire. If it has a name, shout it out in the comments, but to me, discrete storytelling refers to subtextual details or moments that flesh out individuals, organizations, or full cities with minimal interaction or time spent. Not ignored or obscured, but merely woven into the fabric of the episode, adding texture and character to an already complicated tapestry. Think about how the way characters in any given world are put in the foreground, but then something in the background creates tension, sparks a question, or provides quick context at almost a subconscious level. This is one of the ways The Wire manages to add depth to its narrative, world, and characters in a natural way. It can convey details about the subject, what they're engaging in, who they engage in it with, where they engage in it, and how it impacts them, but not just them, the larger community around them as well. What am I even talking about, though? And again, who's Dee Dee? Well, let me show you. Some spoilers ahead for The Wire, but fortunately, there is a short, little series retrospective over here to bring you up to speed on it all. So leave a comment if you recognize Dee Dee before the reveal, and as usual, say hi to my dogs while you're here. They're just now recovering from their recent bout of lack of petinitis, and I'm just astounded at the level of support and crowdfunding we got on the last video. You know, every pet makes a difference.
And knowing is half the battle.
So we're good, yeah?
No doubt.
Let's start with Season 2 of The Wire, what I'll just call the Doc Ages. In a pair of scenes with Ziggy and Frank Sabatka, just a few sentences flesh out their whole family and circumstances with bite-sized drops like little Tonka toy dump truck-sized information.
You don't think I want to throw you more?
Oh, you throw plenty.
Christ, Zig. Maybe if I'd have listened to your mother, because she's the one always
Pop,
talking about you should do
it's
the
cool.
community college like your brother.
Pop, don't.
We learn about the missing family member. We know the brother is gone, that the mother wanted more for her children than the Docs, and we learn that the brother escaped from this family in life however he could. Through this season, we see a son struggle to relate to his father, a father who passes off his son to his friends and family in order to focus on the nebulous goal of creating a better life for him.
It was all work, Zig, even when it wasn't.
We see in his interaction with Nick that he's shoved off his own responsibilities in the immediate to allow himself the bandwidth to say, well, I'm helping overall.
What the fuck is Ziggy doing anywhere near the fucking Greeks?
I don't know, I don't.
You don't know you're supposed to, you're fucking cousin!
You're his father.
And once Ziggy's killed one of the Greeks and is sitting in jail, some final pieces fall into place. Little's been said about the mom. We know Frank is absent from his family life in several ways, and now we know his mom, despite wanting more for her sons, has receded from their life by way of drug abuse.
I bet you didn't even tell her I was in here, did you? Maybe you did, and she already took 3 Nebutal, sleeping a day away.
Leave her out of this.
She's out of it, don't worry.
Ziggy's words here do double the work, conveying her absence in the moment, sure, but more slyly how the habit she's developed to cope has left her physically unable to be present. Did the habit develop before or after her son left for college? Was that another factor in him fleeing from the dying Docs, or did it start after he left, leaving the mother isolated and alone as her husband and son dance with the devil. So that's an example of what I'm talking about, but we can go deeper. One really quick scene that adds just a bewildering level of context to his character is Bill Rawls briefly seen enjoying himself, comfy, hydrated, moisturized, straight vibin', if we're being honest with ourselves. The only catch is that this outwardly brash, crass, and aggressively masculine individual is cutting it up in a gay bar. This one scene, the camera lingering on him in what is a clearly comfortable place for him, it adds layers to his character in numerous ways. The Wire is no stranger to presenting both homosexual characters through Omar and Kima and challenging what masculinity means in the framework of this environment. Bill Rawls is both loud and boisterous, and a police deputy of operations means that he's in a position of power, which means that often through berating his employees with homophobic and vulgar language and what initially felt like a standard male posturing technique, this twist now makes that posturing and bravado seem increasingly like a cover for his natural self, with that added context. We never know if Bill's married, in a relationship, or divorced, but what's clear is that his repressed sexuality through his closeted life in a profession where he feels pressured to convey a certain image has damaged him. It may be the cause of his bitter resentment and the petty grudges he holds over people like Jimmy McNulty and Lester Freeman, who, for better and worse, stick to their ideals and refuse to be who they aren't. So, nice stuff.
But I'm not done yet!
Here's one that I love in Season 3 that stitches together environmental sound, story, setting, and themes to convey the growing danger and disillusionment of the people in our story. We start with Bubbles having just escaped a beating. We see Jimmy and Bunk enjoying their day off, and I say enjoying loosely though, because Jimmy's stewing about his ex, sitting in better seats with a new man down in the lower bowl. Guy named Dennis. Good name. Going back to Bubbles and Johnny, they take their drugs only to find that the essential ingredient seems to be missing. You know, the drugs.
I swear to God, man, I'm not even high.
At this moment, we see Bubbles begin to break down.
Lugged it around like a dog. And nearly get killed over a scratch of metal so that I gotta beg for my life.
Stressing his increased awareness of the bottom coming up at him, we hear 2 sets of gunshots out of the window as he jumps. Feeling his fear and anxiety welling up. We see the horror of his life etched on his face as he searches for the right path forward. Quick cut back to Jimmy and his kids before we see Detective Ed Norris surveying a fresh body as he gets reports of another. This is actually the result of the gunshots we heard in the Bubbles scene. We quickly get a sense without being told that things are stretched thin and violent crime is up in Baltimore.
Cole's working at cutting off Belvedere. Call Crutchfield, see if he's back from the Westport scene. If not, call Bunk at home. Bunk's off day. Hey, fuck his off day.
Bunk, even on his off day, isn't exempt from the call and gets roped in to handle the new murder. And just like that, we see the through line for the show's themes displayed one after another in quick, efficient succession. Bubbles dodges the cops and the crews scraping by, terrified once the reality of life closes in and the drugs wear off. Detective Ed Norris's apathy is clear as he looms over a fresh body.
I love this town.
He passes the call along to Bunk without a second thought. The rise in crime and seemingly useless struggle against it, despite funding being disproportionately levied towards the police in our country. There are departments in our states that have more funding than entire country militaries. All of these moments flow into the next as audio from one scene lends characterization to the scene it's in, and then information to be seized upon by the next in a natural way. Alright, that's good, but here is the cream, baby.
On balance, off balance, doesn't matter. I'm better than you are, yeah.
The gold standard. Dee Dee, I asked you before, who is she? Do you remember? If I show you this scene, does it do literally anything for you?
No offense, but can we just get the 8 ball?
Just being social.
Got it right here, yo.
Thank you.
She isn't named, we don't see her companions, just a young girl uncomfortable with the very act of purchasing, rebuffing the drug dealer's chit-chat out of a sense of fear and urgency. What we get started in this first episode is an entire arc, deftly told through these little vignettes which speak to the natural erosion of the way addiction affects people. We see Dee Dee next here in season 4.
Still tricking for that clown?
You know, I don't understand why people talk trash about him. All I know is he loves me.
Well, when you get tired and go inside your head and all, you really know who loves you.
Whatever.
Did you catch that? That's the girl shooting the shit with old face Andre. It's that fast, a slightly older girl. We know that not much time has passed, so she's either been forced to visually age up through her entry into her new profession, or in reaction to it. She clearly hasn't made the choice to fall into these circumstances though, because we can tell that time has not been kind to the girl shyly buying an 8-ball from a car window. We see a beaten and bruised woman, protecting her abuser as so many abused do. The casual nature of the interaction and her seemingly unaffected air make this one easy to miss, but here we are, 10 seconds with Dee Dee, and we see the effects of this game and the transition from curious to beholden, swallowed up by a system of addiction and abuse. Finally, in season 5, we see Dee Dee one last time, now given a moment to tell her story.
You know how that go, right? Gave myself all these little rules about what I wouldn't do. Like I told myself I'd do a lot of shit to get high, but I swore I wouldn't never trick. So after I'm tricking, I thought, well, you know, this ain't so bad. I'll do this for a while, so I have to make some more rules for myself. Like, I'm never gonna go with more than one guy at the same time, and...
Not just to the crowd in AA, but to us, the viewers. We've seen snapshots of her life, and at the same time, this slow yet sudden descent into use and abuse. Here she details what we were left to assume, and with answers come more nefarious questions left lingering in the air.
Well, let's just say there are certain things I told myself I wouldn't ever do.
In this scene, she gets more time than her 2 previous appearances combined, and we hear the core thesis for her arc conveyed as she conceptualizes and expresses it for the group.
Whatever it is you tell yourself you won't do to get high, you're pretty much making a list of everything you will do as soon as your inner addict tells you to.
Each time we see Dee Dee, she is taking another step in this life, and we experience that moment with her, whether it's the innocent fall, surviving the darkness by any means, and eventually by attempting to pull herself up out and into the light. Through her path, this obviously feels hopeful. We also get a sense, though, that her work is not done, if it ever can be.
That bitch wants to kill me. Even on my way here today, she was telling me not to come. She was telling me that I was all right on the street, that it was all good. I'm bad, Dad.
Through these moments of discrete storytelling, we see The Wire's core themes expressed on a micro and macro level, utilizing all the tools of the medium. The sound, writing, direction, and framing help lend weight and importance to even the most minute interactions, creating a dense and rich world that embodies the most important feeling to me of a good story, that the world and lives of the people in it will extend beyond the confines of the pages or screens that the story is told in, left to live, to stretch, and breathe like the natural lives they portray.
I want to thank you all for letting me share.
Thanks for watching. Woo! All right, another one in the books. Big thanks to people who have been following. Big thanks to my boys Coggins and Gene for letting me bounce ideas off them and for their constant support as true gentlemen and scholars. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a big red button you can click and a thumbs up nearby. As you can see, by the lack of any dislikes, this is a universally respected and loved video, so you too can join the team. I recommend checking out my full series retrospective here and other reviews here. Follow me on the things and join my Patreon to get access to our Discord and early video access, and maybe even your name in these here credits. Finally, to all my guys, gals, and non-binary pals, please be safe.